If I could only hunt one big game animal, it would be brown bear. He's the smartest animal I've ever hunted. Brown bear itself, it's brutal and ruthless, but at the same time, he's honest. I know exactly where I stand with a bear. His instincts are infinitely complex, but his purpose, his objective in life, it's so simple. I don't think he's gonna leave until he sniffs your butt. Oh, it's got the trap door with big buttons and everything. Doing this 20 years, Chris, never seen anything quite like it. You're very secure. Pull that out, Cam. You're the first hunter I've had in 17 years to forget his bear tag. Finally get to take a pee, huh? Getting some peninsula winds up here. Whenever you're ready. You're a little wet. Yes, sir. Well, this is every guide's nightmare. It's coming true. Over and out. Sounds very inviting out there, doesn't it? Sounds beautiful. But he sure seems to like to work into the wind, and that makes it really tough. Yeah. And so now we're racing down again. Looked about the right color, saw his ears looked about the same shape, so we go on a long stalk after it. The silver lining of this story is we didn't have a 7-foot bear dead in a mud hole in a wallow, but spotted him about a half hour after daybreak, leaving the river, climbing the hill like the big smart old boars always do. So we're just gonna take our chances. We're gonna need a lot of luck. Just wait, get ready. Make the first shot perfect. Kill him with the first one. Just wait, just wait. Woo! Right there. Reload. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Yep, right in the shoulder. Just wait. Just wait. We got a 9+ there, buddy! Yeah! Did you get that on video?
I got the shot and then I dropped it. It scared the out of me.
That was unbelievable. If I could only hunt one big game animal, it would be brown bear. He's the smartest animal I've ever hunted. And to target a mature boar particularly, it tests every facet of your skill set. You have to be strong physically and mentally, and experience is so critical when you're hunting bears. You've got to judge them. Is it a boar or a sow? Is it mature? How big is it? And can you predict their movements? And on top of that, you've got to have the discipline to keep yourself and those you're with safe. And certainly that element of danger, there's something about that makes it more interesting, more exciting. Maybe it makes every decision you make that much more important. So by default, it raises the stakes, it heightens your senses, and hones your instincts more than any other hunt I've ever done. A brown bear's sense of smell is 7,000 times that of a human. And the best way I know to hunt brown bears is to find a knob close to your camp and just sit there every single day in glass. And when you find the bear that you want, you wait till he's in a good position and then you make your move. And let your instincts take over. Brown bears breed in May and early June, so oftentimes spring hunts are the best time to get a mature boar because you know they'll be up on their feet roaming looking for sows. Now fall hunts, they're centered around a bear's primary food source, which is salmon. Fall hunts can be really good, but they can also be pretty tough.
The way it works is if the salmon spawn is weak during the summer, then the fall hunt can be a slam dunk. Because the bears are still hungry, they need that fat, those nutrients, the protein to survive hibernation. But if the salmon spawns are strong during the summer, then oftentimes the older, more mature boars, by the time we're hunting them in October, they've got plenty of fat, they know that they'll survive hibernation, and then oftentimes we're seeing a lot of bears, but the big mature boars will often be nocturnal, and hunting can be pretty darn tough. The fall I guided Chris Gaynert from Alberta, the salmon spawn that year was exceptionally good. There were salmon carcasses lined along the banks of the creeks. They looked like windrows. There was so many dead fish. As you would expect, the bear hunting was pretty tough that year. And on that particular hunt, one of every guide's worst nightmares took place.
Few pink salmon around here. Pretty cool, eh? Yeah, he better find himself a girlfriend. Chances are gonna be pretty slim here in another week or so. He wants us to be a cow so bad. He's pretty desperate. He's got about another 10 days for any chance of loving. Chris just didn't smell quite good enough. So after happy hour, he puts on his onesie. Oh, I miss you when you were out of it. He said, I'm gonna put on my pajamas. Oh, he's got moose pajamas. Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I've been doing this 20 years. Oh, it's got the trap door with big buttons and everything. Doing this 20 years, Chris, never seen anything quite like it.
Well, you know, it's probably not a new thing, but when you get up at 3 in the morning, it's pretty nice to have something on.
Yeah? Alright, I'll take your word for it.
You're jealous.
You're very secure. Man, I can tell you that. Pull that out, camp. I noticed you didn't wear that at base camp last night. At least not that I saw.
No.
That'd not be good. Day 1, Chris Gaynert's hunt. We've seen a bunch of bears. This I think is about an 8-footer. Got another one right here in this point. Probably can't see him, he was just kind of hiding out there. I'm thinking that one's closer to 9-foot boar. 1,000 cubs scattered throughout. And we got a sow with a couple of cubs. Not sure if she's still in there or not. Took Chris on a death march this morning.
Wasn't bad. I thought we were going on for a while.
And we pretty much were up and over this high stuff. Hunting some new turf, so a little bit of a learning curve as to where to go and how to get there. It's about noon, a little drizzly rain most of the morning. I think you can see that bear in that corner. I have to check him out, get a better look at him. You know, we got an eyeball on this bear. He's a boar, thinking upper 8s. Good guide could stretch him to 9. Good hunter would call him 9.5. Thinking he's just a little low on the slide scale for day 1. But it's encouraging to see. Weather does seem to be lifting a little bit. Not too breezy just yet. All I've got on is a t-shirt and a rain jacket, which might have to change pretty quick, but got a little lathered up on the hike up here. Bear hunting ain't so tough. Tea on the boil, roof over our heads. Seeing some bears. Forecast is for it to start to blow and rain, so we're pretty well hunkered in. Got this bear fishing in this hole. We think it's a fairly mature sow. There's salmon darting out all over the place in here. She doesn't know which one to go after. It was only 2 hours ago we were seeing peaks of the sun. Not so much anymore. I think we're gonna pack her up. She's getting worse quickly. On our way back to camp. Just gonna go past upriver. Just out a couple cubs. And morning of day 2, just caught a glimpse of a bear. Looked like a good one. About 3 miles away, heading to the brush. It's probably the best bear we'd seen. Got a sow with a cub in the foreground. What looks to be a middle-aged boar in the background. Sow just caught a salmon. A little better look at this bear. I'd say he's probably a 9-foot boar. Kind of hoping for something a little better, but he's not too bad. We got this boar. I'm thinking he's around 9 on that flat. I think he's the same one we saw yesterday, kind of working in here in this main river. We saw him this morning, went into this little, came from the main river, went into this little creek, and just kind of disappeared behind the hill. Now he's coming back out here evening. Think he's worthy of a tag, Chris?
Yeah, if he'll cooperate, he might get some lead.
I guess I saw one bear that definitely looked like a real big one way out in here. Got up on that hill this morning, but as far as bears that are somewhat have been maybe reachable, that one's the best one we've seen so far. Got a sow and cub that have been working this way. Haven't really seen much activity upstream. kind of been bopping back and forth over either side. One of us kind of watches one side, one watches the other. Counting sows and cubs, probably a dozen bears at least today, but I guess everything's been downstream of camp. So, I guess if we don't see anything worth going after here in the next 30 minutes, we'll probably come back up here tomorrow and see what we see and then make a plan. We might, depending on the wind, might go up in one of these ridges. Yesterday we went all up in this stuff. We found a good vantage point, but the trouble was then we got so high and then it would have taken so long to get down. Had we seen a bear, it would have taken so long to get down and get on them. So we got to find that happy medium. This spot's not too bad, not as good a visibility, but quicker access to something if we see it. So. Got a little paddle bowl, hanging out, looking for a lady friend. Night is falling down on us. Day 2, got one good bear sighted. Just the wind wasn't quite right to go after him today. Hopefully we see him again. That did it. On our way back to camp, got this young bull. I don't think he's gonna leave until he sniffs your butt and knows for sure you're not a cow. Morning, day 3. A little gravel bar. Actually, it's that gravel bar right in the center of the screen. Just spotted a bear. Pretty much first light here now. He was working quartering this way into that brush patch. It's exactly where I saw a bear yesterday. I'm assuming it's the same bear as 9 low 9s boar is what I think it is. It wasn't quite so early yesterday, but the wind is supposed to be out of the west today, which is that way. Right now the thermals are going that way. So yesterday he came out of this little brush patch and then joined this little creek right in here. You can see where the main river comes close to this, so he would go down in that gravel bar, come out this brush, join this little creek. There's a lot of fish in there. And then he farted around there all day. Then in the afternoon he disappeared over there, and then in the evening he kind of circled back across this open. So he must be doing a little loop. He's got a little circuit. I'm pretty sure that's him. Sure looked like him. We're gonna watch what he does, but the wind's not quite right for us. But if the wind was right, we'd beat feet and try to meet him there. But 10:30 now. Been watching our bear work up the creek. Once we kind of figured he was committed to following the river, this is where we figured he'd end up. This seems to be the prime fishing hole. All the bears seem to be hitting it. We kind of think this might be the same bear we saw day one fishing the same hole.
There's an old adage. If you'd shoot an animal on the last day, you should shoot it on the first day. But when you're in a place like we're at, this lower end of the Alaska Peninsula, which arguably has as many 10-foot bears as anywhere in Alaska, it's pretty hard to shoot the first good boar you see when at any moment a 10-foot plus bear could step out. So Chris and I both agreed. I was maybe of the mindset a little bit more that maybe we should have taken that bear on day one, but that's a hard thing to do. And you know, we came to the conclusion together that, hey, let's shop around a little bit and see what we got. And that was outside of a couple of bears that we caught a glimpse of at first light in the morning in the far distance. This was definitely the best bear we had seen. We guessed he was probably a 6 to an 8-year-old boar, and at that point in the hunt, it was time to make our move.
Well, we're making a play on this bear. He's working up the creek. And we last saw him working up there. So the wind direction is out of the west. Thermals are going down. So we're probably just going to get up to this point. We don't want to get in front of him too much. So we might just get right in this little stretch of river. If he continues to work, we'll sit on this point, try to whack him as he's working this way, following the river. What's going on?
I'm just
Besides you eating a baby Ruth.
thinking of candy bars.
Yeah.
Several. One that we don't have, I think, is Three Musketeers.
Oh, you're not missing anything.
No.
You're better off without it.
Coffee crisp.
Well, what's happening on the bear front?
Oh yeah, that. Well, Brutus's younger brother, we got him lined up. We followed him up the creek visually. And we got him bedded down in a little triangle of alders here. And we got him covered. We got the back door covered, the front door covered, the side door covered. Just kind of waiting for him to make his move.
That's what we're hoping. We're hoping he's been working upstream, so we're hoping he's going to come out up in here somewhere, work this creek, and then we can beat feet right to here. That way, whichever way the wind's blowing, which right now we're kind of getting westerly winds going that way, but we're kind of getting a thermal breeze or some sort of breeze going downstream, so we're kind of thinking that's our ambush point. Assuming he's following the river, then we should be able to work on him no matter which way the wind's blowing. So we're trying to hold our elevation so we can see. We want to relocate him when he gets out of his bed. It's about 5 o'clock. We're kind of all over the place here is what we're trying to do. This bear somehow got across the river on us without us seeing him. And now he's fishing in the creek there. It's going to be a hope and a prayer, but it's what we got. He's definitely working back into the wind. That bugger's pretty smart. He's always working into the wind. They're all pink salmon, they're all spawned out. Still silvers in the river though, fresh ones. Well, that stock was haywire. Turns out we made a really good stock on a 7-foot bear.
Bears can lay in the brush for days, and if they don't want to be seen, you will never see them. And so when bears are moving in the brush, particularly along the creeks, they'll bump other bears. They'll run into them, spook other bears. And so you kind of get this pinball effect. One bear comes in and then all of a sudden another one can pop out. And so you can never take it for granted. When you go into an area and you bump into a bear, it happens all the time. You'll see a different bear. It's not the one that you
Chris spotted that bear right across the river, directly across from where we last saw a 9-foot boar. Put my scope up real quick to see that it was him. Looked about the right color, saw his ears, looked about the same shape. Never looked, he just had a real subtle goatee. He was kind of facing me, we were kind of in a hurry, get packed up. And rather than making the bear prove itself to be the same bear, I just put the scope on it, took a look at it, looked for something to, you know, something to stick out that it wasn't the same bear. Just assumed it had to be the same one. We went after it. Never got a real good broadside look at it. So we go on a long stalk after it. We get within 40 yards of it. Not that close, probably 80 yards. And right off the bat, I knew it was a small bear. And I was thinking, the next bend down the river, we saw a small bear earlier that the boar had spooked away from the river. Right away I thought, well, maybe that's just what happened here. That bear had moved up the river. So we continued on and never found him. We saw the track from earlier that morning. It is indeed a 9 or low 9s bear, the one we were after. Well, then afterwards we kind of got to thinking that, you know, maybe that was a small bear that we looked at. We backtracked, tried putting it all together, but I'm guessing that bear was still in the alders. Probably caught our wind. But when we did backtrack, we saw a fresh track. Sure enough, it's about a 6-inch track, so I'm sure that was the little bear we saw.
Failed stalks are always disappointing, but particularly in bear hunting, because now you've just laid a scent trail right through the heart of your country, right along that stream where the bears are going to be traveling during the night. And most likely, if a big mature boar moves through that area and crosses your scent trail, he's not going to stick around. He's going to move out of the country. You're probably not going to see them again. So anytime you do that, you've just reduced your chances, particularly at killing a big bear. And so our backs weren't necessarily against the wall. There was no doubt in my mind from that point on we were going to be seeing fewer and fewer bears every day. That's just the way it works on fall brown bear hunts.
I was like, well, the silver lining of this story is we didn't have a 7-foot bear dead in a mud hole in a wallow, but I don't know what happened. We don't know if he'd blown out. We haven't seen him since, so all we can do is climb back on the hill tomorrow and try to atone for myself. We got a southerly blow right in our face. Wish we had it yesterday. I think this is the bear we went after. He's just working his way that way. This is the river he's been working. So yeah, we saw him right there a couple days ago. It's good to know he's not totally spooked out of the country anyway, but see, I don't know, this weather is dropping down on us pretty good. We got up first thing this morning, the clouds were above the mountains. And it's fairly warm. Yeah, it's cooling down a little bit maybe, but pretty good breeze. I think we might be getting some rain today. So the boar is on the left. Sow and 3 cubs are on the right. He seems to be kind of following them. I think that's maybe the same sow and 3 cubs he was kind of dogging the other day. He's kind of hooking this way. The wind is right, so I think I just cow called for Chris. So yeah, I think we'll go down and scoot up here and see if we can't get an eyeball on him. Morning, day 5. Yesterday we spotted our boar this way working up. The wind was right, so we went to this fishing hole, which seems to be the favorite spot on this river. Sat there for a couple hours, got absolutely soaked, never saw the bear. I know we were pretty close to him, the wind was right. And now this morning, I just saw him on that fishing hole, he's heading that way. This bugger's staying in the countryside, but he sure seems to like to work into the wind, and that makes it really tough. The only way to get a bear, you have to, time it out just right and get there just at a spot just the same time he does, and it takes us 20 minutes of hard going to get to that corner. It's good that he's in the country. We've been tracking it up a little bit more than I like, but I mean, you got to go after him at some point. But yeah, he's working the wrong way, unfortunately. Well, I saw a sow and 2 cubs work their way up where we last saw the boar. And then about 5 minutes later, he popped up, out, working back upstream. And so now we're racing down again. Well, we got about halfway to where we were hoping to ambush him. The wind's just all over the place. We got thermals at play. This wasn't right, so we're backing out. Going up to this knob right here. Try to relocate him and maybe get on him for the evening, but definitely seems like the morning is the time to get on him. Little bear got himself a nice little perch overlooking the river. Little afternoon, some decent weather today, a few sprinkles, a little bit of gusty wind coming in from the north right here. There's almost dead calm. You can just hear it roaring. Starting to feel it here now. Getting some peninsula winds up here. Mama and her 3 little cubs out looking for lunch. Finally getting a little sunshine here today. Pretty nice. There's something you don't see every day. Brown bear country, I think I've seen it once or twice before. I've seen it on black bears, fairly common. I don't think 4 cubs is real common for browns. The blessing and the curse of every Alaskan hunt is that something will go wrong. And the Alaska Peninsula is renowned for its winds, and I can confidently say it was gusting over 70 on the hill that day. And our tent, it was marginal, and I knew it. When I grabbed that thing at base camp, I was like, is this all we got? But I tucked it in this narrow draw, and it was as good a spot as we had, but I was definitely apprehensive the way the wind was blowing and sucking down into these canyons. So we purposely headed back to camp a bit early that night. Well, this is every guide's nightmare. It's coming true. Over and out. We're still gonna fry up some supper. Yeah, we got trekking poles in all corners, jammed right through the floor. Don't think there's any salvaging of the tent at this point. Of all the hunters I've guided, I can't imagine any of them handling this situation better than Chris did. He took it like a champ. I think part of him almost savored it. I on the other hand, I was not having much fun. I remember cooking
supper in the tent that night, and we had our 4 trekking poles jammed. I mean, we just jammed it right through the floor of the tent just to hold the wall up. Every tent pole was broke right at the bottom. And so it had to just get this huge downdraft that just pushed it straight down. It must have been like a vacuum, because it was a pretty tight little canyon. It wasn't a sheer line wind that knocked it over. But as I was cooking supper, you know, their headlamp, it was kind of a disaster in the tent. At that point, I'd been in the bush for about 75 days, and I had a rib out of joint in the front of my chest and in the back. I didn't know it at the time, but it was giving me serious grief. And at that point, my young girls were about 4 and 5 years old. And man, I missed my family, you know. I was hurting, and the weather was pretty miserable, and I wanted to be anywhere but there. And I dare say that it was the first time in 20 years of guiding that I wanted to go home. I remember that. That was the first time that I was like, man, if a plane could come pick me up now, I would jump on it. And having a guy that was as tough and self-sustaining as Chris was for that event, I mean, really looking back at it now, I was pretty darn lucky not to have some high maintenance fat cat whining about it every second of the way. I mean, Chris took it all in stride. Thank goodness it hasn't rained too much today, and it's not raining too much right now. So hopefully this isn't some big bad several day blow to where we can get a new tent in here. There is a better spot here. I guess I thought this would be just fine. I didn't expect the wind to funnel through this way. We're protected in every way but that way, and the wind just funneling through. And there is a low spot that would be a little bit better, but these are marginal tents for this country as it is. When I saw these tents, I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But we're so far so good. I think we're surviving here anyway. My hunter's taking it like a champ, like he's done it 1,000 times before. Maybe he has.
It's not snowing.
Yeah, it's not snowing, it's not raining. There we go. We've been sleeping good. I don't know about tonight though. Keep our headlamps handy. Chris and I have been watching this valley for 6 days now, and it's been virtually dead. A couple sows and cubs the first day or two, and the last 4 days we haven't seen a bear up here. And I glass, and here's this brown spot. And I thought, oh, there he is, big dark brown. Probably a mid-50s bull moose. Morning of day 7. Sounds very inviting out there, doesn't it?
Sounds beautiful.
We're tucked in a little cranny here. We moved the tent yesterday, got a new tent. We're in I think a little better spot here, but wind's whipping pretty good. Seems to be out of the south, coming the other direction. So, guess we're gonna try it, climb up on top of the hill, see if we can lay eyes on that big bear, and try not to get blown off the mountain. Day 7, we're weathered in the tent all morning. Pretty nasty. We're watching this bear. Looks like probably an 8-foot sow. Working that fishing hole. The wind is working this way and this way again. Kind of watching what she's doing. We played cat and mouse with that big boar for a couple of days, and then about a day and a half, 2 days went by where we never saw him. And the only other mature bear that we were seeing with any regularity was a sow that I figured was over 8.5 foot, probably less than 9, but it was definitely a mature bear. And so once again, it was a windy, blustery day, as pretty much every day on that hunt was. But we had it in a good position, and we decided, you know, it was pretty late in the hunt. We just figured this is our chance to make our move. By the time we got down off that hill, got across that flat, and got into where we last saw the bear, probably took 40 minutes. So we had no idea where that bear might be. It was pretty close quarters, and we knew that, I mean, we could have had a marching band following us along, and that bear wasn't going to hear us. So as we're going, weaving in and out of these alders and walking along at this edge of this creek, that bear could have popped up anywhere. We had no idea where it was. As a general rule, I've found, or at least every Canadian, particularly Western Canadian I've ever guided, is about half crazy, but I love them because they'll do anything. They're adventurous. They're kind of like Alaskans. They're hardy. They're tough. They're ready for adventure, and even a guy as rough and tumble and experienced as Chris, I think there was probably a couple of times when I was nudging him and pointing him forward to go on up ahead. I think he was even questioning himself a little bit. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Hit it high, reload. Hit it again. Watch it, it's gonna come in the river. Yeah, he's toast. He's toast. Want to give him one more? Go ahead. There you go. Okay. You're all out? Yeah. Want my rifle? Just take my rifle.
It's too close.
Yeah.
Forward's off.
It's on fire. It's loaded. Mine doesn't have a muzzle brake to blow my eardrums out. You're a little wet.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go finish this thing off. Let's go up on the high ground. We'll get your pack after we finish it off. I think he's done.
He's got 4 in him.
I hope my camera handles this abuse. Chris Gaynard, Alberta, Canada. Day 39. What is it?
Yeah, it's day 8, day 7, 10-day hunt. Had this plan for, well, over a year, I guess, with Billy, and was really looking forward to it. We got here. First day, we saw quite a few bears. Saw a real good 9-foot bear. Been seeing them just about daily, but a little bit shorter periods of time every day. And Actually, we didn't see him yesterday, and we kind of got a little bit nervous that he was kind of going nocturnal. And weather's been beautiful, as you can see, the last few days. Kind of getting down to the end. We saw this mature bear, decided probably about 2 hours ago we were going to put a stock on him, and we did, and this is the end result. Probably got into about 50 yards probably the shot, maybe 40. A little tight, but no, it was great. We worked hard, and I'm happy with the results. It's a real nice bear.
Officially the worst weather bear I've ever had a hunter shoot, so congrats.
I try to make it memorable.
Yeah, well, it's definitely memorable. But yeah, we had all the bears we were seeing, particularly after the first day, you know, they're all 1.5 miles, and this one's probably going to be pushing 2 miles from camp. I mean, by the time we walk back. And that big bear, the first day, he was, you know, he was a little lower what we were maybe hoping for. We didn't know what was here. So we just figured, well, we'll, you know, let's take our chances, spend a couple days, and made a couple runs on him. And, you know, like those smart old animals do, he got tougher to kill, went nocturnal, and, you know, we just couldn't get it done. But this is a great bear, mature bear for sure. And evening in day 7, we're going to leave it here and come back in the morning and skin it out. The first morning that I don't bring the rifle with me to go to the bathroom, and here's a nice fresh silver salmon right in the trail that we just walked last night at dark. And we've been kind of not complaining, but just remarking how there's been no bears next to our camp here for several days. And yeah, our tent's not even 100 yards up there. So, well, I guess if it's spooked, that's good news.
Yeah, we don't want to see it or no.
Yeah, that's just telling Chris, I think we could just fillet that thing out and eat it. The thing is very fresh.
If you're looking to hunt Alaska for brown bear, grizzly bear, black bear, moose, caribou, mountain goat, or Dall sheep, I'd be happy to help.
Oh, that was fun.
My guiding availability is limited, but I've got a network of outfitting partners across Alaska who can give you the adventure of a lifetime. If not Alaska, I can also help you find your next hunting adventure in New Zealand, Africa, Canada, or the Western US. So check out our website, shoot us an email today, and together, let's make your dream hunt a reality.
Something new every day. We're always having fun though. Hail, a little different.
These next few hunts are from an area in southwest Alaska where I guided for a few seasons. It's probably a few hundred miles north of this area in the Alaska Peninsula. Peninsula area I've guided for over 20 years and still guiding there today. But this particular area in southwest Alaska, it's in every way it's less extreme than the peninsula. The weather's not as bad, there's not as many salmon in that country, the bears tend to be smaller, there's not quite as many bears, but the bear hunting adventure is still the same. It's always nice hunting a location where you've been before because you know the game movements, you know all the subtleties, where to get water, where the shallow spots are to cross rivers, and those sorts of things. But also at the same time, it's nice to hunt new country. You've got to learn that all again. You've got to figure it out. It's like putting all the pieces of a puzzle together, figure out how everything's connected. In this next hunt, I was guiding Lee Reed from Texas, and this was a spot that I'd never hunted before. There wasn't a great promontory to hunt from, so it was kind of a figure it out as we go kind of a situation. In the very first morning, we weren't on the hill maybe an hour, and we see a really nice bear working the river. You don't want to be too hasty, but this was a nice bear. This was definitely one that we should be going after.
I don't know, we'll see where he beds. There's not a whole lot of cover up there. We might be able to make a play on him. Day 1, we just spotted this bear. fishing in that little hole. And then we moved a little closer and set up and waited for him. And right now he's working up on the hillside. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning. Looks like a good boar. I'll probably regret it, but we're going after this bear. Or at least starting to. He was working uphill, and then he just stopped and started feeding, and he's slowly going uphill still. Yeah, kind of a crap deal, but typically when they leave that river, these big bears, they'll go up and go bed down, but this one's been feeding for half hour. If we'd have taken off right away, we'd maybe be over there. I'm not 100% sure we can cross this river, but he's just feeding out in the open. And now it looks like he's working towards some brush.
About the time we took off after him, he left the river and he went up on this hillside and he got into this brush and bedded up for the day before we could get on him. So we came back to the Glass and Knob. Things were pretty slow the rest of the day. Early the next morning, we spotted a different bear. This one had blonde ears, and he was quite a bit bigger than the bear we spotted the first day.
Spotted him about a half hour after daybreak, leaving the river, climbing the hill like the big smart old boars always do. Here's some. We got some moose. Cow and a calf. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna win this foot race either. He's got to feed for a while. He's right there. Looks like a big bear.
So at this point, we knew the shortest way to get to the river. So we took off. He was following the same path, kind of doing the same pattern the bear was the day before. We come to that creek, it's about waist deep. We just jump right in it and hustle on across because this bear is already working up the hillside right to the same alder thicket. So we found this promontory. I threw my pack down. We got Lee set up prone, got ready for a shot.
Yep. Here, let me look at him a little bit. Gotta kill him with the first one. Just wait till he stops. You really like it. Anchor him right in the shoulder. Kill him with the first one.
You ready for me?
Yep, right in the shoulder. Reload, hit him again. Reload, hit him again.
Hit him again?
Yep. Okay, reload, hit him once more. Don't hit him in the head. Hit him in below that shoulder. Shot high. Take your time.
It was high?
That one was. You hit him the second time. Just take your time. I think you spined him. Yeah, you can trying to get up there. You can get a good shot on him. Take your time. He's dead. There was a lot of brass there for one bear.
Sorry,
Oh, that's well, that's what I told you. Most guys tend to shoot high. That's all right. We got him down. I never got any indicator that he was a small bear, and he looked like a boar to me. And I didn't want to risk him getting into that brush because that's where he was headed. And he wasn't spooked. Got her done. We barreled right through the creek because I told him, I said, if we take the time to put waders on, he might not be there. I first spotted him right here this morning, and he was feeding his way up, and he was 20 yards from those alders. And I had a good feeling about today. Got her done, man. Congrats.
Right. Thank you.
We'll grab our packs, go look at him. He's definitely down. It looks like a good bear. Beautiful bear. He's got those blonde ear tips or ears. Yeah, we'll go check him out. Awesome, man. Congrats.
Yeah.
That was the farthest I've ever had a hunter shoot a bear, and there's several reasons why I chose for him to take that shot. One was we didn't have any more cover, and that bear was steadily feeding towards the alders. And I didn't want him to get too close to the alders, because in the position he was, if we took a shot and we had to follow up, we had wide open 360 degrees around the bear. And so generally 200 yards is kind of my max. But Lee said he was real confident out to 300. Took a couple extra shots, but all in all, you know, that bear died pretty quick in the grand scheme of things as far as nature is concerned, for sure.
You got a big bear, man. A big old noggin on him. Big long nose. And when they're laying like that, they usually flatten out, but that one isn't. He's built like a truck.
Yeah.
You can't even hardly see his ears, other than they're just discolored. That's a good bear. I'm pretty sure he's done. Yeah, he's got a big hind end on him. I'm guessing his teeth are fairly wore. Yep. Yeah, he is a massive, massive bear.
The size of a bear is relative, just like a deer in Alabama versus a deer in Alberta, you know. The bears in this country, in southwest Alaska, they rarely, very rarely hit 10 foot. Now, this bear squared 9 foot 3 inches, probably 15 to 18 years old. On the Alaska Peninsula, you could get a 9 foot 3 inch bear that might be 6 to 8 years old, particularly a boar. Congratulations, Lee. You got yourself a massive bear.
Yeah, thank you very much. Billy, you did a great job. You really pushed me coming this, I don't know how far that was, a mile.
Whether you liked it or not, we knew this bear was going up into these alders. We got to the creek. I told Lee, I said, if we take time to put the waders on, it might mean missing the bear. And he just said, I'll follow you.
Yeah.
So in the creek we went. I'm just glad we could get across it. I wasn't sure if we could cross this creek, but. And you shot farther than what I like guys to shoot. Lee said with good rest, 300's no problem. There was 260. And yep, they hit him every time but once. We had a pile of brass there, but we got the bear down. Yeah, so you wanted to come hunt a brown bear? Yesterday we saw a lot of animals.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. The wildlife here is tremendous. A lot of moose.
Yes. Yeah, I was kind of wishing we were moose hunting yesterday.
Yeah, moose, caribou, a little everything. Bear. So a little everything, a little fox.
Yep.
So.
No wolf, no wolverine.
No.
It's about all we haven't seen that lives in this country as far as big animals are concerned.
Yeah.
We got some fine weather, fortunately. We got delayed, you were delayed 2 days. We were delayed 2 days getting in.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the standard, but get some good weather, it all paid off. Again, man, congrats.
Right.
And one way to look at it is kind of like comparing a teenage boy to a grown man. On the Alaska Peninsula, a 10-foot bear would be the equivalent of a 9.3 bear in this area. So a 9.3 bear on the Alaska Peninsula is like a teenage boy. He's young, he's not fully mature yet, and if you know, he's long and gangly. He's got the length. He might be 6'2" and long limbs, but he's skinny. He doesn't have the body mass throughout. And so when you lay a 9'3" peninsula bear, boar particularly again, you lay that hide out like a rug, it's gonna look kind of like a capital I. Whereas you take a 10.5 foot boar from the peninsula, you lay that rug out, and the trunk is so massive that hide is so wide, it darn near looks like a box. And that's the case with this bear that Lee took at 9 foot 3 inches. That was a massive, massive bear. Lee's 9.3 bear would probably weigh 200, maybe 250 pounds more than a 9 foot 3 bear on the Alaska Peninsula. To use the square of the bear as the true size can be deceiving, because obviously a bear is cubed. So you take a 9-foot bear, take 9 times 9 times 9, you get roughly 720, whereas you take 10 times 10 times 10, you get roughly 1,000. And I would say for the Alaska Peninsula, that's probably roughly what the bears would weigh. A 9-foot bear is going to weigh roughly 700 pounds, whereas a 10-foot bear is going to weigh roughly 1,000 pounds. The thing with bears is they come in all shapes and sizes. Just like people, some are short and stocky, some are long and lanky. But at the end of the day, if you get a mature bear, one that's 10 years or older, and he's got a good quality hide, you've got a great trophy. In 2014, I had 2 bear hunters lined up to hunt this area. These 2 hunts were gonna round out my fall season. So all told, that was a 80-day fall guiding season. And my first hunter in this area, his name was Bill Goodwin. He was from Pennsylvania. And right before the trip, Bill had some business come up that he just couldn't ignore. So he only had a few days to hunt. So we knew, given any opportunity, we had to make the most of it. Bill Goodwin from PA came to Alaska, hunt brown bear. We've got a beautiful morning. First day, glassing this creek here by camp. Haven't seen any bears yet. We're gonna head over, look in the main river here. Just giving this a once over, make sure nothing's cruising nearby. We got a raven and a mallard squawking this morning. A light breeze from my right to left. That didn't take long. There's another bear coming up the river too. Morning of day 1, we got about a 7-foot sow. Right there. Just saw a bear moving. Right over there. In the brush. Get an eye on that one. Ideally, we'll catch some bears working this creek and we can sit right up here. Nice deep pool there. They'll probably go to that almost every time. The silver salmon. It's what's for dinner if you're a bear in October. Fatten up before they climb up into the mountains and take a nap for the winter. Cow and a calf with a young bull on their tail. He's up and milling around. Fairly blonde.
awesome, awesome day. Got a wolf coming in here, coming right down the river. So just hold right on him. See him. Go ahead and get your rifle on him over there. Okay, wait. Stay off safety till you're ready to shoot. You see him there? Go ahead and get on him. Just wait. Stay on him. Whenever you're ready. Smoked him. That was a fine shot.
Thank you, sir.
Got a wolf just like that.
Thank you.
You bet. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. We'll just do the one shot kill. That's perfect. Now we'll just let everything settle down and hopefully we'll get a bear in here yet. It's a dead wolf. He's a pretty one. I don't think he's very big, but it's a beautiful color. It's a really light color. That's the... Besides the wolverine, that's the hardest trophy to come by in Alaska.
Well,
The wolf, you betcha. That was, yeah, that's the way wolf hunting is, just a little bit of luck, some good shooting.
Is this the 5th one of the year, you said?
For me, 5th wolf, just second. Yeah,
Second.
I get maybe a wolf every other year.
Really? I like your bag. It's definitely a good rest.
Yeah, that does work pretty good. Oh, that's perfect. So
I might be a rookie to everything here, but I have practiced a good bit. Not that that matters.
Yeah, you shot perfect. Well, I was thinking it was a yearling, but it's a female, but I'd say it's probably a 2-year-old. Just saved a fair number of moose. Yeah, I think that skull's a little too big for a yearling. Well, it's over 7 foot nose to tail here, so it's a mature female, no doubt. So we got her skinned out. Gonna head back up on the hill and see if we can't find a bear. But yeah, nice wolf. Anytime you can, you're fortunate enough to get a wolf, it's a pretty sweet deal. But beautiful hide on it, classic gray color. We waited until afternoon to go down and skin the wolf. Got them all taken care of. We were loading them in the pack, just about ready to head back up on the hill when we spotted movement on the edge of the slough. We want a perfectly broadside shot. Over the years, I've learned to be very cautious when judging bears, particularly when they're up close. They all look big when you're up close. And my first thought when we saw this bear was that it was the young sow that we'd seen earlier that morning, and so I wanted to be ultra cautious. I did not want to shoot that bear. That was probably only a 4 or 5-year-old bear at most. So as this bear's working in, and again, we didn't have many days to hunt, so I wanted to make sure I got this one right. We're seeing bits and pieces of the bear, can see its head. It seemed like it was pretty dark. And then when he stepped out onto the gravel bar and I could see his long front legs and kind of had a little bit wider shoulders and head, I'm like, I knew right away, it's like, okay, that's not the bear we saw this morning. This looks like a pretty darn good bear. Just wait. It's got a fish, so it's probably gonna eat it. But at that point, what's easy to do when you get a bear close like that, it's easy to rush the shot. Everything was in our favor. It was plenty windy. This bear was feeding right toward us. All we had to do was just be patient and wait for the perfect opportunity to shoot.
Make sure that is clear. Right. Wait till it stops. Wait till it stops. Wait till it stops. Don't have a lot of time. Okay, it's coming back now. Just wait, get ready. Make the first shot perfect. Right there. Wait. Make sure that is clear. Right. Wait till it stops. Wait till it stops. Wait till it stops. Right there. Reload. Hit it again. Okay, get on safety. Rifle up.
Trying to figure out where I set my camera. Finally get to take a pee, huh? Got a wolf and a bear within, well, the bear's right in the alders over there, and the wolf's laying right there. Cool deal. Yeah. Well, we got her done. We were passing up a couple of sows. We were hoping at least to get a mature boar, and we got her. This one's gonna be over 8 foot. Probably like a 5, maybe a 6-year-old boar, and he was close. That worked out pretty slick.
Oh, it did. Yes, thank you very much.
We're gonna roll him down the hill, get a little better spot to work on him. I think he'll roll fairly easy. And then we got the wolf. How cool is that?
It's so cool. Today's been awesome. Just awesome. Thank you. It was exciting. Very exciting. Very happy. Thank you, Bill. It's been a wonderful, awesome day. This bear got within, what, 60 yards? And I was starting to get a little bit jittery. I'm very happy. Thank you.
Again, Bill, congratulations. Due to business, he could only hunt a few days. Actually, 2.5 days is all we were going to be allowed here. And as it turned out, we got a fine bear.
Thank you, Bill. Had a great hunt and definitely an awesome day. Thank you.
I think the guide's going to have a sore back by the time this is all done. Kneeling over the wolf. I ain't complaining because I'm glad we got it all done in such a short time period. I told Bill, I said, to be honest, I was feeling the pressure a little bit.
Man, what an awesome bear.
Feels good to have that big load off my back. Be back to camp. Starting to talk a little delirious. I need some water. 7:30. Sun's going down. Pretty darn good 2-day hunt. Wolf and bear. One more hunt. This fall's over. Ready to go home and see my family. Starting to get a little numb. Yeah, so I got 8 days hanging in the bush. At least 8 days waiting for my next hunter. I get some serious reading. R&R. Maybe I'll go help somebody else. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Some rest would be alright. I don't know if I quite need 8 days. I wish this was my last hunt, then I'd be going home already. As it is, got one more to go. Wrap up the season.
Experience the beauty, vastness, the unforgiveness,
Welcome to Alaska.
and the thrill of the Alaskan wilderness firsthand. Log on to BillyMollsAdventures.com and request for Billy to personally help you select your own Alaskan adventure. Here, you'll also find information on hosting Billy as a public speaker for your next corporate event, Christian outreach, or conservation organization. Log on today and live the adventure.
Most people think, oh man, that's gotta seem like an eternity. You're there all by yourself. But honestly, that is one of my favorite parts of my job, is the alone time. It is amazing how fast time goes by. It's so relaxing. You've got nothing else to do. I'm kind of a high-strung, half ADD kind of a cat. You know, I'm just a typical guy. I think you want to be busy and doing things at all times. And when you get out there and you get away from the fast pace of life and you just simplify things, it is one of the most renewing things I've ever done in my life, is just have that time alone. For me, I read a lot. I'll bring books, I'll bring the Bible, and I'll study that. You just spend time in nature and just rest and relax. When I'm at home, I rarely take naps. I rarely read. It is so good for the body, so good for the spirit, just to, as the Bible says, be still and know that I am God.
Got up this morning, got some coffee going, came out here to Glass and spotted a bear in a river, but I don't know, the wind swirled a little bit. He must have caught wind of my camp. Pretty cool. Way to enjoy your morning coffee. Watching brown bears. Bear kill and the wolf kill are right below me. Neither one's gonna last real long, I don't think. Things are starting to circle me. People don't shoot at them a lot around here, you can tell that. Better start moving, they might be liable to start eating on me. I remember actually the plane came in early because my next hunter, he was able to change his ticket and I didn't know that, so I only had like 3 or 4 days by myself. But I remember I was laying up on top of a hill taking a nap, and I don't know how long I had slept, but I mean, it was probably 40 degrees, so it was nice and cold, but that sunshine just, you know, felt so amazing. And I was actually laying on the hill, and I remember hearing a plane coming, and I just figured, you know, the plane just gonna fly over, and it kept getting closer and closer, and the next thing I know, he's basically buzzing me, you know, and I look up, and here's my next hunter coming in. So it was bittersweet for that time to end, but it was also nice to get my last hunt rolling, knowing that as soon as that hunt was done, my season would be over and I could go home. And so my hunter was Chase Lamb, another crazy Canuck, young guy. And with him was a young packer. His name was Nate, and he came along. He wanted to get he'd been packing moose all year. He's a tough little kid from Idaho, and he wanted to get a little bit of bear experience. So it was kind of nice to have a little help, and we were seeing enough bears in that area, so we were all excited to get the hunt moving, and conditions were good, and this, without question, was one of the best hunts I've ever been on. You're the first hunter I've had in 17 years to forget his bear tag.
Number or something.
Yeah, so we're getting it airdropped to us. Excellent. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Hey, and we got a water bottle too. Morning of day one. Got Nathan, our packer extraordinaire. How many moose have you packed out this fall?
6.
6 bulls. See if he can pack out a bear hide. Chase, we got a bear tag.
Yeah,
We're ready to go.
got the tag today.
Yes. It's gonna be legal and everything.
Yeah.
It's cold. Cold, cold, cold. Getting all saddled up. Gonna head to the hill across the way. See if we can find a good bear. Got up on the hill, we spotted a bear just for 2 minutes. Poked his head up right about there, walked into the bush, disappeared. That was about 3 hours ago. I haven't seen him since. Sun's out now, warming it up. Probably a little above freezing. Kinda hoping that he comes. Works into here and do our little swoop. Day one, we're making a crazy stalk. We saw this bear. I think it's the same one we saw this morning. It looked like a pretty good one. We actually got a good look at it. Looked like it'd be over 9. He's heading over the top of this hill. He's going through this cut. He's going over top. And he's kind of angling down. So we think he's going over top into this river. Wind's in our face, and we're really not going to trash any country to speak of. So we're going a little bit towards camp, but we're going to be ways away from it by the time we either get him or give up. But day one, Chase is young and in shape. It's a good bear. So we're just going to take our chances. We're going to need a lot of luck. He's going to need to angle toward us to a certain degree at least. And hopefully we'll get lucky. I ain't going to get my hopes too high, but just see him there. He's kind of working this way, kind of to the right. Can't see him right now. There's a pretty good river over here. Hopefully he follows this little low spot. We're gonna keep working. This could get up close and personal there.
And so at that point, we're like, well, this might just work out, but we still had a long ways to go. He was probably 3/4 of a mile away. And so we just keep on trucking. And so it kind of goes into this valley, and as you enter into this valley, the river is still like 2 miles away that I figured he was headed toward. And there's this flat of canary grass that was probably 2 miles square, and this canary grass is probably about chin high for me in most places, maybe chest high at a minimum, maybe some of it's over my head. But he's headed into this canary grass, and we figure, well, you know, we're not going to see him in this canary grass because it's thick, you know, it's infested with this canary grass. So we're basically all but running, and we're trucking as fast as we can because we want to get to the edge of this open tundra. There was another probably 2 square mile area of open tundra before the river, so we wanted to catch him in that open tundra and hopefully, you know, time it out just right and intercept him. So as we're trucking through this canary grass, all of a sudden I realized that there's water right before me and there was this canal, and so I just jumped, got across it, and as I jumped across this canal, I could smell salmon. And so I knew, obviously, there's salmon spawning in this canal. Well, this canary grass was bent over the canal, so it was all intertwined, and you could almost not even see the canal. So we were able to hop over it. We kept on trucking, and probably another 200-300 yards, we come to this real subtle berm. It was probably only 3 or 4 feet higher than the rest of this flat. So we climbed up onto that berm, and we're all just kind of looking around, seeing if we could see anything. And we sat there for maybe a minute. We just kind of catching our breath, looking to see if we can catch movement anywhere. And eventually, I think I even said it. I'm like, man, that bear could get into that canal and fish down that canal, and we'd never know it. But I gotta figure he's gonna head to that big river. So we took off, going for that open patch of tundra, and 5 seconds later, thankfully, Nate stayed on that hill, that little knob, just a little bit longer than Chase and I did, and he's like, hey, right there. And so we raced back up, get up on that little berm, and just then I saw something dark, and I could just see the bear, like, could tell he was on a bank, and he dove back down into that canal. And we're like, all right, well, he's working that canal, let's go back. So we go back to that canal, and everywhere we're at, the grass is intertwined and laying over top of the canal. So we follow the canal for probably 200 yards, and we find this stretch that was about 10, maybe 12 yards long, where the grass was kind of laid flat and the canal was open. So the canal's maybe 5 feet wide, and it was cut banks. It wasn't a creek, it was a cut bank canal. And the banks were probably, 3-4 foot high, and the water, who knows, was maybe a foot to some places probably 4 or 5 feet deep. And so we set up on this little bend in the canal, if you will, and we get Chase positioned. I take my shooting sticks and I extend them all the way, and I intertwine the wrist straps, and I set them before Chase and tell him to put his rifle in there. He's like, so where are we going to shoot the bear? And I'm like, well, we're going to shoot him right there. There's just this black hole that you can see, and as the river kind of makes a little bend in the canal, if you will. And I said, well, we're going to shoot him right there. He's like, well, where am I going to shoot it? And I'm like, well, you're going to have to either shoot it in the chest or in the head. I said, because, this grass, this is our only chance. We'll just sit here till dark and hope he comes. He's like, okay. So we're set up. We're just sitting there real quiet. We're just listening. Nate's behind Chase and I with the video camera going, and I think I hear something. I hear a psh, but I'm half deaf from farming and muzzle brakes. Every guy hates muzzle brakes. I've had too many blast my eardrums out, so I don't really trust my hearing very well. But then I hear once again, and then Nate goes, I heard something, and Chase goes, I heard it too, and I'm like, okay, all right, yeah. And then pretty soon you hear, and it's like, okay, he's coming. So Chase kind of gets his feet under him, and nestles in, and you can see the ripples coming down. And we're like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen. So we got our rifles at the ready. I just tell Chase, I'm like, just wait until I tell you to shoot. Just don't shoot till I tell you. And he's like, okay. And so we're waiting. Getting louder every step. Ripples are getting bigger, and we're just waiting. And of course, in a scenario like that, it seems like, it's an eternity, but I mean, it's just seconds, no doubt. And I'm just waiting for this huge bear to emerge out of this black hole, and we're staring into the black, and we're waiting, we're waiting and we're waiting, and all of a sudden I see something move, and it's something white, and I'm like, what in the heck is that? And the sun, of course, is shining, but I mean, it's dark, and you can see it's recessed back in there quite a ways. And I mean, it's literally covering, it's like a canopy over top of that river where the bear is coming from. And I see something white, and then I realize that it's his ear tips. They're blonde. And then I see his nose and his eyeballs. And you couldn't even see his chest. It was right, his head was just right over the water, and he's doing this. He's just got his nose working, he's looking for fish, feeling for fish, moving pretty slow. And this bear is close, you know, he's less than 10 yards away. And so, but I wanted him to step out. And so I just tell Chase, just wait, just wait, just wait.
Tag him again.
All right, he's dead. How was that for up close? Yeah!
Not a baby, nice shot.
I don't know. Safety on safety. I don't know how big that bear is.
He's good.
But it's freaking that. That's how you hunt bear. Did you get that on video?
I got the shot and then I dropped a little bit. It scared the shit out of me.
That was unbelievable.
Nice shot, man.
Atta boy, Nate. Thanks, buddy.
Nice job.
On safety.
Safety's on.
Go ahead, I'm right behind you.
You got a 9+ bear, buddy! Nate, excellent.
Yes!
Holy smokes, was that exciting?
10 yards?
That was 10 yards coming right down the trough. When we crossed this thing, I'm like, I could see this bear just wading this trough right on down. I thought, nah, he wanted to be going that way. And we went too far. I think Nate, or did you spot it?
Nate did.
And then we sat and we were looking back, and I'm like, well, we got to go ahead. I left. 10 seconds later, Nate's like, Billy, 5 seconds later, Nate saw the top of his head. He's on the camera.
That was unbelievable. That's the hunt of a lifetime. One day.
That is friggin' awesome.
Yeah, we heard a splashing, and then it was quiet, and then you said, here he comes.
I heard something before you guys said it, but it didn't sound like water, but I heard something, and then you guys said it, I'm like, oh, it's gotta be if I heard it.
I seen him coming, and then I could just see his noggin, and I aimed right kind of just, because he's a bit up, and I aimed kind of.
Oh, you tatered him.
Boom, and
yeah, I mean, there was no.
At that point, what do you do?
If he got out of the creek.
Jump on his back and
oh, yeah. Like a bull. Holy smokes. All right.
Let's see you up and close. It looks
it's a good bear, and it's in the water. It's a big freaking bear. Just, you got the camera, just keep her rolling. Perfect.
He's right in the water there.
Oh my lord.
That's a big bear.
Oh my lord.
There's his ears.
That's that one we seen this morning.
I'm going down. I'll bet it is.
Unbelievable, you guys. Thank you so much. Look at his ears. Look at the size of them.
All right, I'm gonna clear my camera.
I looked off like this, I seen it, I was like, and I didn't move. And you shot, I was like, boom, and it scared me a little bit. I don't know if I dropped it.
That's
but I know I got pretty sure I got the initial shot.
Perfect.
It's so hard to see because there's that grass that folds in.
The lighting too was a little bit hard, so I know I saw something moving in the camera. So.
It's dark in here, and I mean, it was basically all you could see was his head above the water.
Yeah.
That water's deep in there.
It's a good thing for his ears, because with his ears you can kind of see, but it's so dark, and he's a dark bear, but his ears, and you can see, and then he got around that bend, he just kind of stopped, and then boom.
That is one of, if not the most exciting bear hunt I've ever been on. Let's get our wiggies on and you can get in there and check them out.
That's unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Oh,
dude, right
unbelievable.
That is cool.
Thanks, Nate. Thanks, guys.
That is awesome.
The trip of a lifetime.
That is.
I'm glad we got a video because nobody would believe me.
No.
That is so
Shot him at like 8 yards.
Coming at us. Here's where the bear is. Let's see, well, we're here pretty much the bear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yards. Yeah, you'd had to shoot him right here with your bow, though.
Done this one with a spear. Holy cow.
Holy smokes, that was crazy. Oh, that's insane.
That was awesome. Unreal. Unbelievable. What's the closest you've ever killed a bear?
You're looking at it. Yeah, we were pretty much ready for it. I told Chase, I'm like, my guess is he's gonna come right through the river, and he's like, what do I do then? And I was like, shoot him. It's like, shoot him right in the noggin. I'm like, sure.
What else do you do?
Yeah,
that's all you
could see.
The river's not wide enough for him to even turn sideways.
Yeah.
He's only coming at it. I'm glad we could hear him splashing.
This is going to be an extremely interesting skin job, but oh well. Yeah, you definitely smoked him right in the melon the first shot, which is,
yeah, he went down in a heap.
Yeah, that'll be a good story.
That's cool. I'm glad we got it on video.
Yeah.
Take him, and I kind of heard Chase shift a little bit. I wasn't sure what he was doing, and I remember kind of taking my eye off of him a little bit, because I mean, I'm watching the bear is so close. I can see him, one eye's in the scope, and I'm kind of watching all like this, and I just look over at Chase to, you know, make sure he's still alive, you know, and what he's waiting for. Well, just then, boom, his rifle goes off, and I remember just waiting to make sure that I definitively saw that he hit the bear, because this was really close quarters, and I just wanted to follow up, because if that bear like turned around and wheeled, I mean, in that grass, we were getting he was going to disappear in, you know, seconds or less than a second. By the time I go to follow up, I don't even know what I was really looking at. It was so close, you couldn't miss, or so I thought. And I just knew I didn't want to hit it in the head, because I had that happen with one hunter's bear and kind of destroyed the head. That was an up and close and personal shot too, and so I didn't want to make that same mistake. So I was aiming for the hump, and by the time I shot, boom, I just remember Chase's first shot hitting it, and I just remember seeing his head. It was kind of like slow motion, like it just went like that, and so I could see that he hit him in the head, and the bear of course just pancaked flat. But by the time I shot, boom, I just shoot right over top of the bear's head. Meanwhile, the bear just goes like this, and so I shoot right over him. I remember seeing the water splash. I'm like, what the heck did I miss? Which it turns out I just went right over top of him. Not my proudest moment, but I mean, it happened. That's just the way it went down. Man, one of the most exciting stalks I've ever had. I couldn't think of a better way to cap off what was, you know, one of my best guiding seasons ever. And Chase was a phenomenal guy and a pleasure to be in camp with. And that hunt, one of the best I've ever had. No doubt about it. A little closer than what you expected to shoot?
Yeah, I told you I was good to 300 yards, or what I my opinion, and he brought me within 8, so I don't know if he didn't believe me. But yeah, no, that's hunt of 5 lifetimes. Yeah, 9 yards, that's what it was. 9 yards we paced it out at. He came through, we could hear him splashing, and we waited 15 minutes, see him coming through the flat, hit the tall grass, and then heard some splashing, and it wasn't just a couple minutes after that, then he came around and right through that jungle there, and all he could kind of see was his head, and gave him a tap, and he went down, and the rest is history and hypothermia. So.
Yeah, he is a wide load. There's our glassing knob, that low ridge right there. We spotted him I'm pretty sure it's the same bear, because he had those blonde tips.
Yeah, I've seen him this morning.
He's really going to be pushing the 9.5 mark. He is a big, wide-bodied bear. Yeah, and you can see how deep, well, you're darn near up to your knee on your right leg, and look at how much of that bear is exposed there. He's on a little bit of a shelf of a gravel bar, but that bear has got some serious mass. In this high bank, there's no way we can roll him up. So we got a little work ahead of us, but that's just fine. Day one. Yeah, you glad you came early now?
Yeah,
you came. My last hunt got done 8 days early, so Chase came like 5 days early. 5 days early,
4 or 5, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Around that, yeah.
And it paid off. Excellent. Congratulations, man. Good job, Nate. Bear spotting machine here. If we wouldn't have had him, we never saw that bear after that.
If we never seen that he'd hit this creek,
Yeah.
he'd been gone.
Yeah.
We just sat there twiddling our thumbs till it got dark.
Absolutely. Yeah. You the man.
That was the funnest hunt I've ever been on.
Yeah, that might have been the funnest hunt I've ever been on too. Well, we're gonna leave him here tonight, and then camp is just over on the back side of that. Pretty much just right underneath the sun there to the left a little bit. Awesome, awesome job. Congrats again, Chase.
Thanks, guys.
That's a bear of a lifetime there.
Thank you guys so much. That's why I came here, and this is even above and beyond than what I could have ever expected.
This bear, we saw him limping. He's got scars all over the place. Look at that pad, man.
Unbelievable.
That's not very old. There's got to be a tank of a bear. This bear is, if he's not 9.5 foot, he's 9'5". And he's got, those aren't his, that's just fat, not down to his intestines or anything. But yeah, he was definitely limping pretty good. There he's got a cut on this foot too. Yeah, his pad's over 8 inches. Yeah, it's a big bear. This is a huge bear in this country. Oh yeah, and he's got him on his head. And
yeah.
Yeah, let's roll this sucker over. Yeah, that is a mondo critter. You can grab that hind foot and let's shimmy his spine. You can keep rolling this if you don't mind.
So just pull him?
Yep. 1, 2. Oh. 1, 2. 1, 2. Alright, we're gonna have to do something a little different. Let's try to use his buoyancy and get him up that way. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Okay, right there. Yeah, it's gonna be a cold job tomorrow.
So we can sleep in and let the sun come up. Pat camp probably.
Holy smokes. It's a big, thanks Billy. Awesome bear, man. Yeah, that's something I'll remember for the rest of my life, and I'm darn sure Chase and Nate will as well. That bear just coming underneath that grass. You know, because that water it's deep. He's on a little bench there, a little sandbar, but that water is about knee deep. I was telling Chase, I think I've been over 40 brown bear, grizzly bear hunts. That was the most exciting one yet, I think. That was pretty incredible. Never would have thought when we started that stock that we'd have that bear down and be back to camp before dark. Pretty sweet. Morning of day 2. I think we've got a cold job ahead of us. I wish I'd had enough rope last night. I could have tied the hind legs out of the water, but as it were, this is going to be fun. We're calling him 9 foot 4 inches. And there you can see what a big bear he is. When you got them and they look like a perfect box like this one does. Maybe not quite that wide, but when they look like a box instead of an eye, you know you got a big bear. When that midsection is that wide out and those legs don't stick out very far. That is a heck of a rug. Packs are full. Bare skinned. Cold wet job. Sun came out though. Warmed it up a little bit. That was nice, but he was frozen pretty solid. Camp is just over that near ridge. Fine day. Fantastic hunt. Great hunt. Couldn't ask for better. Squirt him out 9.4. Big bear. He's a big 9.4. He's short-nosed tail. Man, he had some body mass to him as a big bear. So, get back, call base camp. Wind's pretty high today. Might not be able to fly, maybe try it in the morning if it doesn't work out today. Another nice bear right by camp. Probably close to the same size. We were taking the toes out, splitting the lips and eyes and stuff on Chase's bear. And here comes another one down the stream. Same stream that we actually shot Chase's bear on. We shot it at the headwaters of this stream. We're right in camp here. This one looks to be like a boar, about 9 foot. It's a little smaller than Chase's. Be my best guess. He's just working his way down the creek, catching salmon. It's coming to an end, Chase.
Yes, sir.
Been a blast. Heck of a hunt, man.
Yeah, a lot happened in a few short days.
Yeah. Time to head back home. Got weathered in for a day with actually just blown in, too much wind. Isaac's coming in, snatch us. You can see him crabbing into that wind. There's a pretty good crosswind from right to left. He's a good pilot.
I like hearing about today.
He didn't clear those alders by much. Cleared that alder bush by that much. But he cleared it. I think I better go to the bathroom before I take off. I weigh more than Chase. So we'll often hear people talk about nature and use the analogy of a chain, that everything is a link in this chain of nature. But I think nature's more like a spider web. Every organism is a strand in that web. Everything is connected, and if one organism doesn't do its job, if one of those little strands breaks or isn't there, the integrity of the entire web, or the entire ecosystem in this case, is compromised. And on a coastal brown bear hunt, you see that connectivity. It's so abundant. There's so much life. It supersedes any other environment that I've ever seen. You've got all the life in the water, and then so much life on the land, and they meet together, and you see the intertwining and how everything relies on something else in the ecosystem and how everything survives. It is something that I wish every hunter, every person could experience. And we'll use the salmon for example. They're born in a stream, and they'll stay in the stream for a year or so, a little tiny salmon fry, and they'll go down the river and they'll go out into an ocean, and they'll swim for thousands of miles for 2 to 7 years depending on the species. And then nature will take course, and those salmon will come back to the stream of their birth, and they will start swimming upstream. And as soon as they hit fresh water again, they'll quit eating. So salmon are
full of fat and nutrients and protein because they need that to sustain themselves as they swim upstream without eating. Sometimes they go up the Yukon River. Some of them are swimming more than 2,000 miles, and they will swim to the place of their birth, and they will spawn and they'll die. And so a female salmon's going to have several thousand eggs, and out of those several thousand eggs, only 2 of those will successfully reproduce. Meanwhile, those salmon are swimming upstream. They're running a gauntlet of bears. Those bears are grabbing the fish, and in the peak of the salmon spawn, particularly a big old mature bear that's been hungry before, he'll recognize the most valuable parts of the fish. He'll grab that fish, step on it, grab it by the tail, rip the skin off, eat the skin, the eggs if it's a female. He'll bite into the head, suck the brains out, and when there's plenty of fish to be had, he'll leave the flesh, the other parts of the fish, the actual flesh, laying there because he knows there's more fat, nutrients, and protein in those parts of the fish than there is the flesh. And that bear's only job is to get as big and strong as he possibly can. Now, nature is way more green than we could ever hope to be. You know, smaller bears, eagles, ravens, weasels, fox, wolves, you name it, you know, something will come and eat what's left of those salmon. But what doesn't get eaten, what happens to it? Well, it decomposes, and those nutrients, they go into the ground. Well, what does that do to the ground? Well, it fertilizes the ground, which helps the alders and the grass and the willows along the banks of those rivers prevent erosion, which protects the life cycle of the salmon, which helps the continuation, the perpetual nature of nature to continue. And so, you know, that's just one small example of all the things, the interconnectivities that are going on in nature that none of us will understand, but when you see how it all works together and start to figure out how it all works together, that is enthralling. That is what I love about guiding. That's what I love about my job, is get to spend, you know, some years more than 100 days in the wilderness hunting and studying nature. As a hunter, first and foremost, we're students of nature. That's what I love about it. You know, and on these bear hunts, a lot of people say, oh man, you're not taking any meat with you, you know. I've eaten grizzly bear meat where they're eating more buds and berries and stuff, and it's okay. It's not choice for me, and I love game meat. But that coastal brown bear meat, the old adage, you are what you eat, they're rotten fish. And, you know, when you skin them out, most of those bears, they smell like rotten fish. I've had a hunter, I fried it in a pan for him, and he literally gagged as he was eating it. I mean, it was about all I could do to not gag just smelling it frying in the pan. And, you know, nature's, as I said, way more green than we could possibly ever dream of being. I mean, nothing goes to waste in nature. I just think that's an easy thing for people to latch on to emotionally. Oh, well, you're just out there for the hides, you know, you're just out there for the trophy. Well, from a conservation aspect, I mean, the Bible says man's to have dominion over the creatures of the earth, the beasts of the earth. And from a conservation standpoint, you know, we're taking usually old mature bears. In this country, you're looking at several bears per square mile. I've had days where I've seen over 40 different bears from one location. Most people would never guess this, but the state of Alaska actually did a study in this one particular area anyways. They found that out of all the moose and caribou that die in a given year, more than 80% of those are killed by predators, namely bears and wolves. So roughly 10% of the moose and caribou that were dying in a given year were killed by other natural causes other than predators, you know, disease, being swept down by a river or what have you. But less than 10% of the moose and caribou that were dying were killed by hunters. So it was 80% that were killed by bears and wolves. So from a conservation standpoint, if we're seeing that many bears, and particularly in that area, to take probably 5% of the bears in any given year. That's pretty nominal. If anything, it's keeping the bears healthier, keeping them from overpopulating. And of course, the state of Alaska, they're using that data. The data that they get from hunters is largely what they have to go off of. They can see the age of the bears because they're aging every bear. They know the sex of the bear. And so they can recognize if the age class is getting lower, or if we're shooting more sows, then they'll lower the bag limit or shorten the season. And that's how they're managing the game. Not to mention the money that's being put in to the state of Alaska. That's what's funding the biology and the fish and game. That's what's funding it all. And just from a realistic standpoint, if bears weren't hunted, where would they get fear of man? If we didn't have weapons by which we could, at a minimum, defend ourselves, and the bears didn't know that, human beings would be the easiest prey they would have by a landslide. I mean, you let that go on for, let's say, several generations, those bears are going to figure that out. And I mean, nobody would be safe going into that country. And so to keep their inherent fear of man, hunting is absolutely necessary. When I look at nature, I see God's nature. I see something that is self-sustaining and designed to last for an eternity. And the limitless wonders and the vast extremes found in bear country and the divine balance of it all, it's so evident. It's just right there. The landscape, the mountains, the valleys, the rivers, it's all so harmonious, and at the same time, it's unforgiving. And the brown bear itself, it's brutal and ruthless, but at the same time, he's honest. I know exactly where I stand with a bear. His instincts are infinitely complex, but his purpose, his objective in life, it's so simple. Survive and propagate. And really, that's what everything in nature does. And God takes care of the rest. If the Alaskan brown bear is in an ecosystem, you can bet he is the apex creature in it. And uncovering the reasons and the purpose for everything he does teaches me more about hunting than any person ever could. And a bear's ability to survive so efficiently and kill his prey so effortlessly, that keeps me humble and resolute. Even after 25 years, every time I set foot in brown bear country, I still feel small and somewhat intimidated. But man, I feel alive, and I feel free, and I feel a sense of belonging that I don't believe I've ever found anywhere else. And it's in this land that I've recognized another polarizing contrast of the natural order of creation. It's the hunter and the hunted that keep each other strong.
For more modern-day mountain man DVDs and digital downloads, log on to BillyMollsAdventures.com. Here you'll also find books, a wide variety of merch, and information on hunting opportunities with Billy. When he's not hunting, Billy travels nationally and internationally as a public speaker, sharing his captivating, soul-stirring tales of adventure by way of his one-of-a-kind, down-to-earth delivery at corporate and community events, Christian outreaches, and conservation organizations. Just like the Alaskan wilderness, no one leaves a Billy Molls presentation the same person as they enter it. Log on or call for more info.